Hello, guys. I hope you guys are going good. Okay, today let's go with the topic called identifiers. Just before that, okay, so we will just recap what we have learned in our previous video. Okay, in the previous video, we actually have gone through the introduction. So, what is Java? Why why we have to learn Java? So, where I have explained you why Java, right? Why Java and what is Java? So, what is Java? Java is a high-level object-oriented programming language, right? And it is a designed to be platform independent, right? The key features of Java are it is object-oriented, it is platform independent, it is robust, it is secure, and for multi-threaded, right? And the basic components of Java are JDK and JRE. This, and we have something called Java compiler. Okay, and we have seen what are the common usages of Java, where Java can be used in various fields like web applications, mobile applications, enterprise level applications, cloud based services, and scientific applications. And finally, we concluded that Java is a versatile programming language widely used in various domains such as banking, insurance, like any manufacturing, okay, and which has a strong community support and a vast ecosystem of libraries and frameworks, and it supports principles of portability, security, and object orientation, making it a popular choice for the developers. Okay, that's why we are learning Java. Okay, so hope you guys are good with my previous video. Let's jump into the today's video. So today's video, uh, we will start with identifier. But what are we going to learn in the fundamentals of core Java? So we are going to learn something called identifiers, reserved keywords, data types, literals, arrays, types of variables, where arg method, what is main method, command line arguments, command line arguments, Java coding standards. Okay. So today let's start with the basic concept called what is an identifier. Okay. So what is an identifier in Java? An identifier in Java is nothing but it's a name given to the program element, such as it can be a variable name, it can be a method name, it can be a class name, interface name, and package name. Okay. So what do I mean by this is, okay, let's say if I just go to this source, okay, so I try to create one sample class, Java class as, okay, let's take a real time example only. Let's say something called payment. Okay, payment is one of the it's an real time object used, or it's a real time class, okay, in the banking domain. Fine. So payment, here this is the class name, and this class name is called as an identifier. Okay, so that's where I told you an identifier in Java is the name given to a program element such as a class name, method name, or variable name. Okay, now this is the class name, right? Now inside this, okay, now if I declare one variable name, okay, let's take payment. What does the payment have? Payment has something called, let's take uh, a variable name called some xyz. Okay, we'll see that later. Okay, xyz. So xyz, if I declare, this is nothing but a variable name. Okay, I'm just giving a sample of the variable name. It can, in real time it can be different. Okay, so under the payment class, okay, payment class can have something called payment id. Okay, payment id. So payment id, what are we giving? We are giving an primitive type with the payment, right? So here this payment id is nothing but a identifier. This is a variable name, this is called as a variable name, this is a class name. Okay, and what is the method name? Method name is public void. So if I want to give payments identity, okay, something, let's say I want to display something inside a payment, okay. So this display is called a method name, okay, and it is an identifier. It can be a class name. Why it is giving an error, I have to declare it as static, okay. That's why it is giving an error. So a class name or a variable name or a method name, this is nothing but a identifier, okay. Fine, clear with this? And there is interfaces and packages. So packages is nothing but, so for example, so if I have to import system.out.println, okay, let's say I'm just importing. So there is some Java has given some inbuilt packages, okay. So if I have to run this, if you check, the system is declared under a package called, or if you hover it is, system is declared under a package called java.lang, okay. We can, there are system defined or a java defined packages also, okay. This package is nothing but a group of classes or group of methods, okay, is nothing but a package. Group of classes, similar kind of classes you actually place into one module, so that is nothing but a package. Fine. So even this package is, we cannot so that is called an identifier. Fine, with good with this. So interfaces will learn something similar to class. There is something called interface also, okay. So if you check java class, we have something called interfaces, okay. We'll learn about what is interface later, but just learn tell, okay. I'm just saying as payment service interface, okay. So interface is something similar to class only, and this interface name also we should given as an identifier. Fine, good with this? Fine. So identifiers are uniquely used to uniquely identify these elements in a Java program. Okay, to uniquely identify in a Java program, these are considered as an identifier. Now let's take an example, right? So age examples have already shown you. Here we have a different examples, right? Age. Okay, this is a variable name. These are our variables name. This is a class name, and this is a method name. Fine. Under the employee class, employee age and employee total salary, that is an identifier. Now under that, so we'll learn something called rules of identifiers in Java. So Java has some strict rules for naming identifiers. If any rule is violated, the program will not compile. Okay. So for example, what are the allowed characters in Java? So in identifiers may contain alphabets. Okay. From capital A to capital Z, small a to small z. It can be digits. So only allowed characters, special characters are dollar sign and underscore. Okay. Sorry. So under this, what things are valid? Okay. So if you check, right, if I just check the valid identifiers inside the method name or a variable name, it's considered, okay. This is a valid one, okay. If I give something called hi, like slash, this is not a valid identifier, okay. It can start only with dollar or underscore. Only two these special characters are allowed. Other than this, if I give any other character, right, or if I give any other character, like, right, any other special symbols, so it will give an error, okay. The allowed characters are capital A to, so this is a capital A to small capital Z and small a to small z, right. So those things are allowed. And whenever you're starting, right, I can start with numbers 1 2 3, this is allowed, okay. Oh, sorry, right, it's not allowed, right. So 1 2 3, it is, you cannot start with the numbers, but it, you can give something called 1 2 3 later. but numbers cannot be started. That rule we can see in later things, but for now just check that you cannot. What are the valid things here? Employee, right? Here I'm saying employee, here I'm saying payment ID. This is a valid thing. Underscore payment is a valid thing. Underscore payment ID is a valid thing. Okay, now I shown you that payment 123 is a valid one, right? That is valid. And dollar amount, right? I shown you as dollar payment ID is a, sorry, dollar payment ID is a valid one. Fine. Now what are invalid things? Let's check what are the invalid things, right? So, and between this payment ID, so space is not allowed. If I give space, it gives an error. I cannot give hyphen between these two things. This is not allowed. I can give underscore. This is a valid one. But hyphen, underscore, okay, or space, this is not a valid identifier. Even for a method name as well. Okay. I can give display name. This is valid one. Okay. But I cannot give display hyphen name. Okay. This is invalid. I can give display underscore name. This is valid. Okay. And it is always, it is recommended thing that, so whenever uh, you have two words in a identifier, right? So first word of a method name should start with a small letter, and the next letters has to start with a capital name. This is a recommended uh, identifier in Java. So you cannot give display name so it is valid. Okay, Java allows you to write this, but I mean capital D it allows you, but it is always recommended to give the variable name, right? Variable or method name, it is always recommended to start with the smaller thing, uh, and the next letters, right, next word of that letter should start with capital. So even for the variable name as well. Okay, variable name, if you have seen, payment is P has started with small, and I has started with capital. Okay, why I can write this, this is, I'm not, Java will allow this, but it is good practice to actually give I mean, whenever you have two words in a identifier, right? It's better to give capital I and starting with small p. And class name should always starts with capital. Okay, whatever and whatever the payment, you can give card payment. Let's take, so for example, I'm just giving a sample thing. I'm saying it is a card payment. Okay, so class name is always recommended to start with the capital. Okay, but variable names, method names, it should start with small, and the next letters or next word of that letter, right, should start with capital. Okay, I mean the class name can always starts with, it is always recommended in Java that you can start with capitals class names. Okay, this is allowed. It's not that the Java will not allow you to write this. Okay, this is allowed. It's just that uh, it is a good practice in Java to give the class names with capital. Variable names should start with small p, and the next letter should start with I. Okay, good with this? Let's go with the next rule. So cannot start with a digit, right? So we cannot start with a digit 1, 2, 3. As I told you, we cannot start with a digit. That is not a valid one. Okay. So and why this is error? So it is giving some error, red mark, right? It means that you change the method name here and you forgot to change here. That's why it is giving a red color. Fine. Identifier must not begin with a number. So what are valid ones? Payment 123 is valid, but 123 payment, I mean, which is starting with digit. This is not valid one. Okay, fine. And why it is giving an error? Here actually we have saved with payment, and this we have changed it to card payment. Hello guys, I hope you guys are doing good. In my previous video, we have learned what is an identifier. Okay, and we have seen what are the rules of identifiers in Java, where we have seen that what are the allowed characters, right? Allowed characters are small a to small z, capital A to capital Z. Digits are 0 to 9. Okay. Unallowed special symbols are dollar sign and underscore. Okay. And we have seen examples like this is a valid one. Underscore is a valid. Okay. Digit after the word is a valid, but you cannot start with digits. Okay. And dollar, you can start with dollar. Okay. And you cannot, what is invalid is that you cannot give hyphen, okay, between the two names, and you cannot give spaces. Okay, these are not valid ones, right? You can check for more information in my previous video. Okay, I have given more examples, taking in examples there. And you cannot, identifier cannot start with a digit. Okay, that is what, right? What is valid? Emp, I mean that identifier cannot start with a digit. This is valid. Okay, after the identifier emp you can give digit, but it cannot start with a digit. Okay, these are invalid ones. So now in this video we will see what are the next rules of the identifiers, right? So next rules of identifiers are, as I told you earlier in my video, that payment id, this is invalid. Okay, spaces are not allowed between the identifiers. It can be a method name or it can be a class name. So payment card, this is not a valid one. Okay, spaces are not allowed for the identifiers, whether it is a even a method name as well. Okay, method name, you just, spaces are not allowed. Okay, hyphen is not allowed. Okay, between any identifier you can give underscore, underscore is allowed. Okay, fine. So spaces is not allowed for an identifier. Okay, why does it give an error is that here the class name is payment. Okay, that you might have understood. Fine. Now, so spaces are not allowed where valid one is total salary, and total hyphen space salary is not a valid one. Okay, the next thing is, in Java identifiers are case sensitive. What do I mean by this is that this space payment id, okay, this payment id, okay, and a payment id, these are all valid ones. Okay, but these are all different, these are case sensitive. Okay, different ones, that's what it says here. Okay, these are all case sensitive. Now in the reserved keywords cannot be used as an identifier. What are the reserved keywords? Like if, class, for, int. Okay, this cannot be used as an identifier. If I use an identifier, right, it will give an error. Okay, if it's giving something as this red mark, right, it means that it is not allowed. I cannot give class as a variable name. I cannot give class as a method name. Okay, these are all invalid ones. Okay, fine. So reserved keywords cannot be used as an identifier. The reserved keywords are for, int, class. Okay, these are all the reverse reserved keywords which cannot be used as an identifier. Okay, now the next rule is that Java does not impose any length limit on the identifiers. What do I mean by this? So for example, class name, right, you can give any number of length, okay, as a class name. Okay, it can be anything, it can be 1,000 or something, but that is not recommended. Okay, the recommended uh, identifier in Java is that recommended identifier in Java is that it should be readable, whatever the name which you are writing. Okay, or you can give length. Length is not fixed. You can give any length in Java, but it should be readable. Readability matters. So, for example, you are downloading a file. Okay, so I can give the method name as download file. Okay, for example, public static, I'll give string. Okay, string. This is a, is a return. Okay, return type of that method. So if I want to download some file, okay, download file. Okay, it will actually give byte array. So let's give byte array for example. We can learn more about later, but for now you just think that return new byte. Okay, so this method name should be readable. You can give the length of that identifier can be, is not fixed. Okay, but it should be readable. Readability more matters. Okay, so length is not fixed, you can give any length. Okay, let me go to the next rule. Now unicode characters are allowed. So Java supports unicode characters, but these are rarely used in practice. These are not recommended in real-time projects like this pi. Okay, these are all the reserved keyword, I mean unicode characters. Okay, and next, underscore alone is not invalid in Java 9 plus. Okay, till Java 8. Okay, only defining the underscore is valid. So I am using, currently I'm using here Java 8. Okay, which is less than Java 9. Okay, so here Java only declaring underscore is allowed, but versions in the higher versions like Java 9 and higher versions, right? I can show you in my next videos. Like I will upgrade my version of Java and I'll show you that this underscore is not allowed, only declaring underscore. Okay, which is not valid. But what is a valid one? Underscore value, which is a valid one. Okay, this is valid. Fine. So we'll see what in a quick table we'll see what are valid and invalid identifiers. Okay, so we are seeing employee name. Okay, this is a valid one, correct format. Underscore salary, and we can start with underscore, but only underscore is not allowed. Okay, starting with underscore is a valid one. Starting with a digit is not allowed, that's why it is not valid. Okay, hyphen is not allowed between the two words. Underscore is valid. Okay, that's why it is not allowed. So defining the reserved keywords in Java is not a valid identifier. Class is a reserved keyword which is not allowed. Starting with dollar amount is a valid one. Okay, that's why it is valid reason. Okay, and only underscore is not allowed in Java 9 place and restrictions. Okay, so best practices are use camel case for variables and method. Camel case in the sense, so if you check, right, I told you payment underscore id. Okay, this is a valid one. Okay, this is a valid one. Fine. So, and it is always best practice that where I've told you, right? So the method name should start with a small letter. Okay, and the next word of that uh, identifier should be capital I. Whether it for the class name, it is always recommended to start with capital letter and next words also capital. But for the variable name and the method names, right, it is recommended in Java to start with small and the next letters of that, next words of that identifier can start with capital. Okay, so that's why payment in the p is small and I is a capital here. Okay, fine. And display name, if you check method name here, d is small and n is capital. Okay, method name, variable name should start in a camel case. Okay, and this payment should start with the capital ones. I I with this I'll end this video here. And if you have any questions and things, you just leave a comment and do share, like, subscribe to my video, and share this video to as many people as or as many students as possible, so that it will be helpful for cracking the interviews, right? So on a high level, what I want to say is for any student, right, cracking interviews will become easy when you just follow my videos. Okay, thank you for that. We'll stop here, and in the next video we'll see the reserved keywords. Okay, we'll talk more about reserved keywords in my next video. Thank you for now.